Hi, this is Debbie. Welcome back to Cheyenne, Wyoming Urban Gardener. Still getting used to the name. And this is just a quick video. I was out in the garden and decided to go ahead and dig up my Idaho potatoes, as well as a couple of my Kennebec, just to see if how the Kennebec are doing and to eat some new potatoes. Well, I wanted to show you that this is the Idaho potatoes. I planted these Idaho potatoes from some potatoes that I had that were going to vine that I had bought, store-bought in the house. They did make potatoes, but this is an entire row of those potatoes. And they are not very big at all. The biggest one is this one right up on top, and it's about the size of my palm, as you can see here. We will still eat these. They will be delicious. There's not a blemish on them. They look beautiful, but they had actually already started sprouting again in the ground. So these were beyond ready because they were already starting to sprout again, and I went ahead and took the sprouts off. So we will have to eat these pretty quickly because they were sprouting again, meaning they were beyond done. And so it's kind of crazy, but I did plant those. It was free potatoes because I already had them, and not any trouble there, just a little bit of some labor. So we have a little mess of potatoes there. Now these are the Kennebec potatoes. This was one bag of potatoes that I had picked up, and there was only, I think, 3 pounds in the bag. I had chitted them and planted them, and this is actually only 2 plants. 2. The potatoes are large. This one is beyond the size of my palm. They have new skin, which means they're not quite ready yet, but they are good sized potatoes. Look at that. That one is a very nice sized potato. Even this for us would be a baking potato. It's about a medium-sized potato, but for us this would be a baking-sized potato because we don't eat a whole lot of potatoes. Yes, there were some little ones that were in there. That always happens with potatoes. But the majority of them are nice-sized, good potatoes, and that was 2 plants. This was 1 row. And as I said at the beginning, when I planted the Kennebec potatoes, I've always had great luck with Kennebec potatoes. So we grew them back in East Tennessee, and this is the first time that I'd tried them here in Wyoming. It's the first time I'd seen the seed potatoes for Kennebecs. And, well, they're clearly the winner. They are clearly the winner, and they will be the potato that we plant next season. We will not fool with the Idahos, and we will not fool even with the red potatoes. Yes, I had a lot of red Norland potatoes. As you can see, quite a lot of red Norland potatoes. But they are small at best. A few are medium-sized. Nothing was really large. They're edible. We're going to eat them. Had about 35 pounds of them in this basket. This is a pretty large basket. So I think when you get these at the farm stands, these are like baskets for zucchini and squash and things like that. And it holds quite a bit of weight. So this is about 35 pounds of red Norland potatoes. They did great. Beautiful plants, and they never bloomed. The potatoes are small, and I just don't want to deal with small potatoes. I mean, I can, pardon the pun, I can use all of these. I will just roast them up and, scrub them off. We'll probably eat them skin on. But I want a potato that I can peel and that I can mash potatoes with. And yes, I can mash potatoes with these, but they'll more than likely have to stay skin on unless I'm going to sit there and be peeling potatoes for hours just to get one batch of mashed potatoes. Or like these, which have a really tough skin since they're Idahos. The skin was very ready on them, and there won't be much left once I peel them. So these will more than likely be eaten whole as well, probably as a snack or something like that, and bake them in the oven. And then these are going to be peeled and made into mashed potatoes and all the other good things. And of course, we'll probably cut some up and roast those as well. But the skin is still needing to set on these. Basically, you will take these out of the ground and then leave them sitting somewhere that is cool, dry, and preferably dark because you don't want these to sunburn. They will sunburn even when they're pulled out of the ground. So you'll put these somewhere where they will stay for a few days, up to 2 weeks, and the skin will form a lot harder on the outside, and then they will store better. Right now they will not store very well because of the fact that it is new skin. With the red potatoes, I don't have to worry about that so much. The skin on these was not thin, but I just happened to nick a few of them with the pitchfork when I was trying to get them out of the ground. There's no really good way to get potatoes out of the ground without ending up either leaving some if you're doing it with your hands, or stabbing them if you were using a pitchfork, or using a hoe chopping them in half. That's happened multiple times on me. You always happen to lose a few when you're trying to dig them up. But anyway, they are beautiful potatoes. I'm going to have quite a lot to store. Probably looking at just the 2 Kennebec plants, this is probably about 5 pounds of potatoes, to be honest. So if I'm looking at that for the rest of the row, I'm probably going to end up with about another 35, maybe even 50 pounds of potatoes out of just that little short Kennebec row of potatoes. And some of those potatoes, this was actually the outer fringe 2 potato plants that were not very big, and were on some really hard dirt because we have a stump underneath the area where they were planted, and it's very difficult to try to get that stump out because the tree itself was about 7 to 8 feet around. It was a huge cottonwood tree. So we're just letting it rot in the ground, and we just try to avoid it with the tiller and everything. So the rest of the row is much softer dirt and much more loose dirt. So more than likely there'll be larger potatoes. Could be more weight to them, and probably more potatoes than what there was right here in these 2 plants. So I think it's a fantastic harvest. I might be just tooting my own horn because I did a lot of the work, but I think they look like absolutely wonderful potatoes, nice big healthy potatoes on the Kennebec, and you know, they're nice and pretty potatoes with the rest of them as well. And we will use all of them. We will store all of them, and we will eat these through the fall and winter. They will not last up until spring because even though we don't eat very many potatoes, this is not a whole lot of pounds of potatoes to make it through to spring. Who knows? We might. We'll find out. But anyway, that is the part of the potato harvest for this season. I still have a row of Yukon Gold that I planted out of some organic potatoes that I had just picked up at Walmart, to be very honest, because you couldn't get seed potatoes anymore for this season. I wanted something a little bit different, so I got the Yukon Gold and planted those. And actually, I don't even know if they're Yukon Gold. They're just called gold potatoes. So we'll find out when they come out of the ground. But I expect to have a good harvest out of those because they're all up. And I just finished hoeing those, adding more dirt over the tops. So we will have bigger potatoes and more potatoes with that yield. And that is a prime section of the garden with some really loose soil. So looking forward to that. And, well, I hope we get a lot more potatoes. But anyway, that is the potato harvest for today. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to see notices on new videos as they come out. And don't forget that I am doing live streams now, and I will be trying to figure out a schedule to do a live stream. I don't really want to cross with anyone that already does live streams on a specific day, especially if they're friends and homesteading and stuff like that, or sustainable living. So looking forward to that, and we will see you in the next one.